My boss demanded I work weekends for free, and I swear to God, a switch flipped in my brain that day. I knew then and there, things were about to change, but not in the way he expected. I'm a software engineer, specializing in data analytics and process automation for a mid-sized tech company. Let's call my boss Mr. Henderson, a man whose only discernible skill was making everyone else feel perpetually behind and inadequate. For months, the workload had been creeping up, deadlines getting tighter, and the overall vibe was just toxic. We were constantly told we were a family, which apparently meant we should all be willing to bleed for the company without complaint or compensation. The specific incident that broke me happened on a Tuesday. Henderson called me into his office, a place I usually avoided like the plague. He sat behind his enormous mahogany desk, fingers steepled, looking at me with that patronizing smile. "Look, Mark," he began, "we're really tight on budget this quarter. We absolutely need to hit these Q3 targets, or leadership will be breathing down all our necks." My stomach dropped, I knew where this was going. He leaned forward, as if sharing a profound secret. "I need you to put in some extra hours on Saturday and Sunday, just a few, to get us over the line. Unpaid, obviously, to show commitment. It's a team effort, you know." My blood ran cold. Unpaid. Again. This wasn't the first time he'd hinted at voluntary weekend work, but to just flat out demand it for free. The audacity was stunning. I mumbled something about looking at my schedule, trying to keep my face neutral, but inside, I was seething. I spent the rest of that week in a haze of pure resentment. My personal life was already non-existent, and the thought of giving up my precious, meager free time for nothing lit a fire under me. That night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, an insane idea started to form. I was an automation engineer, right? What if I automated my entire job? It sounded wild, impossible even. But the more I thought about it, the more feasible it became. My daily tasks mostly involved running reports, integrating data streams, and optimizing existing scripts. It was repetitive, predictable work. Henderson and his cronies probably thought it required constant human oversight, but I knew better. It required a smart script, meticulously crafted. I went to work. Not for Mr. Henderson, but for myself. Every night, after my regular, soul-crushing workday, I'd dive into my personal laptop. I started building a sophisticated suite of scripts, modules, and APIs. This wasn't just a simple macro, it was an intelligent system designed to mimic my workflow, interpret requests, execute tasks, and even generate reports with a human-like summary. It was an ambitious undertaking, fueled by pure spite and caffeine. It took me 3 solid weeks. My apartment became a war room, monitors glowing into the early hours. I was testing, debugging, refining. Each time a script ran successfully, perfectly replicating a task that used to take me hours, a small, vindictive grin spread across my face. By the end, I had a digital clone of myself, capable of handling 90% of my job with minimal supervision. It literally took minutes each morning to check its progress and iron out any minor kinks. My workdays suddenly consisted of sipping coffee and watching my digital twin earn my salary. That's when the second part of my plan kicked in. With all this newfound free time during business hours, I started looking for other remote jobs. Why stop at one automated income? The market was hot for skilled engineers, and with my expertise, I quickly landed not one, but 2 other full-time remote positions within a month. Both offered excellent pay and benefits. Suddenly, my Slack notifications were a symphony of 3 different companies, only 2 of which actually required my active brainpower. My first company, Henderson's company, continued to chug along, utterly oblivious that I was essentially a ghost in the machine. Reports were submitted on time, projects progressed. I even got a pat on the back for improved efficiency once. The irony was palpable. I was making triple my previous salary, working roughly the same amount of actual hours, but for different employers. Then came the big ask again. Henderson called another team meeting. "Team," he boomed, "we've got an urgent client project. It's high stakes. I'll need everyone putting in extra hours, especially Mark, on weekends. This is a chance to really shine, to show your dedication." He looked directly at me, that same patronizing smile plastered on his face. This time, I didn't flinch. I let him finish, then raised my hand. He looked surprised. "Yes, Mark," he said, clearly expecting me to volunteer immediately. "Mr. Henderson," I said, my voice calm, "I appreciate the opportunity. But I need to put in my 2 weeks' notice." The room went silent. His jaw literally dropped. He sputtered, "What? Mark, what are you talking about? This is a critical time." I smiled, a genuine, unburdened smile. "You wanted commitment, Mr. Henderson. My automation scripts are probably more committed than I am. They'll keep the lights on for another 2 weeks, then you'll have to figure out how to manually run the engine I built." He looked utterly bewildered. "Scripts? What scripts?" "The ones that have been doing my job for the last 2 months, while I've been working 2 other full-time jobs. You asked for free labor, I optimized. Now I'm working for 3 times the pay, for 3 different companies, and your company's tasks are still getting done. By a robot." The look on his face was priceless. I walked out of that meeting feeling lighter than air. They scrambled, of course. My automated system kept things afloat for a good week after I left before they realized they had no idea how to manage it or replicate it. I hear it was chaos. Meanwhile, I'm genuinely enjoying my 2 active jobs, and the steady income from the automated one, until they inevitably pull the plug. He wanted commitment, I gave him efficiency. He wanted free labor, I leveraged his greed into my financial freedom. So, Reddit, when a boss demands free labor, and you automate yourself out of the equation to work 2 other jobs, am I the asshole, or just a capitalist hero?